What's going on, everybody? This is Boonjbin Bokchoy bringing you a weekly event video for the first time ever on day one. As you can see on your screen, I did attempt this already a few times. I'm not really sure what's up with this track because I didn't really have problems with it at 110 AI difficulty. I ran it once before. It was kind of sloppy. As you can see, we got 272 or so points, and we were in the top 10, but it's still day one, only a couple hundred people playing. This week you can really attack this one or two ways, either really conservatively or you can go aggressive. The conservative way, I feel like, takes too long. You lose some points from your overall race time. So I decided to go with aggressive. Setup, the first time I attempted was a 610 wings time trial setup. But this playthrough, I lowered the wings a little bit just because the McLaren was lacking a bit on straight line speed. So we'll go through the setup right now. It's just your typical time trial setup. Picks up with the wings at 4.9, 50, 57 transmission, geometry negative 2.7, negative 1, 0.05, 0.26, 111, 62, 1.2 for suspension. Brakes, whatever you like. I like 150, and then tires, 21.4 in the front, 19.5 in the rears. So like I said before, I'm not really sure if the AI is just slower on this track than normal. Most tracks I usually have issues at 110. It could just be because we're in a McLaren and we're really just basically overtaking some backmarker cars. So goal number one is to get past Raikkonen. He's really slow. Raikkonen and Grosjean are really slow on this track. So you can either wait behind them, get up close. It's not going to take too much to stick behind them towards the start of Sector 3. But what you really need to do is stick close behind them through this section right here, through this little chicane, and then these 4th and 5th gear S's, the S section here. And then what I like to do is go up into Rich, stick as close to them as possible. They like to brake really hard for this right hand right here. Keep your speed through that, and then just throw on the overtake. And then you're on softs, brand new softs, and they're on really old mediums, so you can kind of just outbrake them into that right hand turn. And I think that's pretty much what I do for both him and Grosjean, or at least that's what I did in most of my playthroughs. So yeah, you're really at an advantage here because you're on really fresh softs, and I think everybody else in front of you are on aging mediums, and then Giovinazzi up in P5 is on hards. So you have a tire advantage throughout this entire I think it's like 7 or 8 laps. So again, with Raikkonen, we're going to try to get as close as possible to Grosjean here through the first two sectors, and then really just go after him on that right-hand turn. For this left right here, most people can probably take it flat or just a little bit of lift off, but because my wings were so low, I tapped the brakes a little bit. So if you look at the telemetry, you can see that I use a little bit more brake than most people normally do in a race or in time trial. This left-hand turn, game suggests to go into 4th, but I like to stay in 5th to keep the speed up a little bit, and then shift down the 4th with the right-hand turn. So this is the important part. We do get a pretty good run. And again, Grosjean's on older mediums, so we can outbrake him into this right-hand turn here. I don't really know too much about the Hungary track. Honestly, before this weekly event, it's probably been months since I've done any practice on the Hungary track. But the good thing about this game is that once you figure out how to handle corners, you can pretty much apply it to every other track in the game. So aim to get to P7 at the start of lap 65 at about 3 seconds behind Norris here. It'll take you about a lap and a half to catch up to Norris. Don't waste your ERS on the straights just because you don't really this track isn't really good for harnessing, like I said before. So just you get plenty of fuel at the beginning of the race. Just as long as you're managing your fuel through the slower corners pretty well, you should be able to finish with more than enough fuel. I think most of the times I ran this, I finished with maybe close to a half a lap worth of fuel left in the car. So you can really go for rich as much as you'd like, so long as you conserve through some of the slower and mid-speed corners. So I like to throw them into lean about half of the corners on this track. It also helps out with the traction out of the slower corners too. So, but we do catch up to Norris just right outside of DRS. Sometimes some of the playthroughs that I did with this challenge, I did get close enough to get DRS out of Norris at the end of lap 65 and the start of lap 66, but we didn't do it this time, which kind of sucks, but it's okay. What you do have to watch out for is Giovinazzi up in P5 is really, really slow. I'm not sure if it's just lap 66, but for some reason at lap 66, the delta just starts to evaporate. So Norris will catch up to Giovinazzi. What you can do is pressure Norris enough to where out of a couple of corners on the exit, he'll kind of lose the back end and he'll drop back a tenth or two. And if you do that enough times, hopefully you'll prevent him from getting close enough to Giovinazzi up in P5 to get DRS at the start-finish straight. But what you can do is still try to stick close to him and try to pull off that same stunt on Grosjean and Raikkonen. This time, however, he's a little bit too quick for me. He gets a pretty good exit. I'm not sure if maybe his tires are a little just a little bit better than the previous two drivers. But again, just keep pressuring him, stay on his wing, try to make him make some mistakes. You do get DRS out of him, but he does get DRS off of Giovinazzi. So now my plan is just really use all the overtake that I have left and try to pass him on turn one here. Again, just remember his tires are a little bit old, so you can outbrake him. So you don't need to be super close behind him or anything like that, but just watch out. Don't make any contact because you will end up losing points off your overall score. But we do outbrake him into turn one. That's probably a little bit closer than I would have liked, but as long as we passed him cleanly, I'm okay with that. And next up is Giovinazzi. He's on the hard tires. Really not going to be an issue at all. You just have to make it clean. But he's not going to be too much trouble getting past. And as you can see, we're already right on his tail. We just got past Lando Norris, and we're already on his rear wing here. So keep it clean through these corners in Sector 2 here. Probably the most difficult section, but the AI is really slow through this little combination here, those 4 or 5 turns or so. You can really make up a lot of time on them. Again, we get a good little run. And then I'm just going to send it because he's on hards. I'm assuming really old hards. We do make a little bit of contact. I'm pretty sure I lost a few points there. No warning comes up, but I feel like even if you don't get a warning and you make contact with other guys, I feel like they do take points off of that anyway. And now pretty much it's just all about conserving your tires and, well, you can conserve your fuel as well, but I think as long as you're running lean through the slower corners, you're probably not going to run out of fuel. And that's about it. Nothing really happens here. You just have to run a pretty clean race for the last 2 or 3 laps or so, and you should get a pretty decent score. Again, I would say raise the AI level a little bit above what you normally race at. For some reason, these guys were really slow, other than I think the only person that really gave us any trouble was Norris. But everybody else, as soon as we got to the position behind them, they were really easy to catch up to, and a couple of these guys didn't even take more than a lap to get past. So I definitely recommend running the AI higher than you normally do, and you can gain a few thousand points off your overall score. But all in all, this weekly event was pretty fun. I'm glad that it was a track that I'm not really used to, because now I have all week to really practice this track. But if you didn't watch any of my previous videos, what I would advise is run this at your baseline difficulty. If you find yourself winning really easily, jack it up by like 5 points, the difficulty. So if you're running at like 90, put it up to 95, see how well you do. And every day of this week, just come back, raise it up 1 or 2 difficulties, and just keep rerunning it. And before you know it, you'll be at like 105, 106, 107. And then if you do find yourself at 110 difficulty, I would recommend running it a couple more times, keeping an eye on where you should be braking, how hard you should be braking, and then go back, turn off the racing line, drop it back down to whatever your baseline difficulty is. If that's too difficult for you, drop it down like 5 points, and then just work your way up again. And that's usually what I do with these kind of weekly events and weekly challenges. And that's how I learned how to drive the tracks without the racing line. I did that with the esports qualifying at Italy with the Mercedes, and now I don't have an issue running at that track at 110. I did it with the weekly event in France with the Ferrari about a month or so ago, and now France is easy as pie for me. And I did that with the esports qualifying at Coda with the McLaren, and now that track is super easy for me. So definitely give that a try. Step out of your comfort zone a little bit. Raise the AI every day that you're doing this event, and before you know it, you're gonna see like a second or two off your fastest lap times. But that's how I learned how to drive these tracks. That's what I would recommend. If you guys have any issues at any tracks, drop a comment down in the comment section. Let me know what you're having trouble with. I will do my best to make a video to help you guys out. And I just want to help everybody improve at this game. I feel like the internet and YouTube in general is just full of so many toxic players. I really just want to improve myself and help other people improve without having to worry about being ridiculed. So, I mean, if you watch this challenge on my video here, you can see that I'm definitely not the cleanest driver or the most consistent driver, but feel like being negative to other people and having other people being negative towards you doesn't do anything to help your confidence with this game. So I want to help you guys. I definitely want you guys to help me because I'm not really where I want to be at just yet, but it's something that'll take time. So let me know what you can do to help, what I can do to help, and if you see me doing anything wrong or you think I can do something better, let me know in this video, and I hope this helped you guys out. So we do end up improving our score a little bit. I think it was 272 before this race, and I think we end up at about 274. Top 10 score, pretty decent. I think my next goal is probably to try to get this challenge completed at 110 without the racing line. If I do end up being able to do that, I'll probably throw up another video at the end of the week. But good luck, everybody. Seems like it's going to be a pretty easy challenge this week. The AI is not too difficult on this track. Only a couple hundred people on, but I'm pretty happy with the score. I think it's not going to show it now, but I think we end up being like P9 or P8 on the overall chart with about 400 people. But let me know how you guys do. Stay tuned for more videos. Remember to eat your bok choy, and if you think I deserve it, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe.